week, so thanks for letting me have a break and a little bit of mental health after a really long day last Monday. But we are back at it. We won't have a break again for a while. So every Monday night, we get to hang for an hour, sometimes more, and discuss a random topic, always saving money, and whatever your questions are. So whatever questions you have, if you will stick them in the comments, and I will try to make sure I see them. If I miss them, my husband's around and he'll try to make sure I see them as well. And between the two of us, we will definitely get you an answer. So that's our goal. That's the fun part of a Q&A. Whatever questions you have, I don't care if they're on or off topic. Tonight's topic is meat and produce. It's a big one. It's a favorite one for a lot of folks, and a much needed one because it's not a category. We don't see coupons on meat and produce. We see some sales on those items, but very, very few. And so honestly, you got to use some good tactics to get some deals on meat. And lately, you really have to put in the effort to save on meat and produce. So I was noticing today, I went into our local chef store just to take some pictures for you guys. So as we went through, I could explain that one. And really talking through with my husband, in the last 2 years, we know that prices have gone up. We know that COVID has affected a lot of things and other issues affecting inflation. But seriously, the price of chicken has gone for a 40-pound box of chicken at the chef store, being $1.10 a pound, to right now, it's actually on sale this week for $2.29 a pound. Now, the rest of us would say, yeah, right now, that is a good price. That's really hard for anyone that was getting that $1.10 price to really, that's a hard one to handle. That is over 100% increase in price. So a 40-pound box of boneless, skinless chicken breasts 2 years ago would have cost you $42. Today, we could go in and we could get it. It's over $90 for the same box of chicken. That's insane, but that's where we are. So since that's where we are, we got to learn how to still be on budget, still get fresh meat, and save money on it. So that's what we're going to try to tackle tonight. It's a big one, but we're going to try to hit every way that I can think of for you to be able to save money on meat and produce. But if you've got questions, again, that are off topic, that is absolutely fine with me. I want you to get your questions answered and figure out how to save on whatever it is that's struggling, that is a struggle for you. So please ask away. It is okay if it's not a meat and produce question for you. So to dive in, and as Dr. Faze is saying, you found it for $1.88 at Kroger today. You will see it on some sales, and you should grab them when you see it. Right now, for me, if you can find chicken under $2 a pound, you should grab chicken for under $2 a pound. Now, there's some other ways to save on it as well, and we're going to try to hit all of those. And the first one being that we probably need to switch up what chicken it is that we're aiming for. So boneless, skinless chicken breasts have always been the most expensive option. And, it means that we need to kind of switch up our plan and we need to go for some other types of chicken. Legs, quarters, wings. I know that you may not be a dark meat kind of person. I love dark meat, by the way. My husband does not, but those are much cheaper than going for a boneless, skinless chicken breast. Even bone-in chicken breast, much cheaper than boneless. So to kind of prove that point, I took a number of pictures just so that I could kind of show you guys where we were. I do buy my produce in bulk, my produce and my meat, really going meat here, in bulk. We usually do get it from the chef store. Now lately I have been hitting some insane deals at Lowe's Foods on clearance meat, so I've not had to head to the chef store recently, just stocking up on just crazy good grocery store clearance sales. But typically buying meat in bulk is the cheapest price that we can find. So whether that is a restaurant supply store for you, like for me, I'm heading to the chef store. So chef stores run by US Foods. There are 4 or 5 locations now in the country, but we also have Gordon Food Service. We've got a few different ones, and you do not have to own a restaurant. Anyone can walk in, anyone can shop these deals. Now, most of us would not want all of these deals. So when you're heading into a restaurant supply store, you really do want to focus on the meat and the veggies maybe. I will also, I took a few other pictures of some other things that I'll grab, and we'll go through those in a second. But there's a lot in this ad that honestly an average person wouldn't need. I know I don't need 12 cans of butane fuel cartridge. I don't need a 250 craft paper shopping bags. They really are catering towards restaurants, but the rest of us can shop there. So that's what I want you to focus on, usually the front page, going for the meat deals, the produce deals, things like that. So I'm going to show you some pictures really so that we can talk about cuts of meat, because that is one of the biggest ways that you can already save money, is switching up what you normally purchase. Maybe you are a boneless, skinless chicken breast kind of person, to going to chicken thighs or chicken legs. I know it's not going to work in every meal, but just kind of having that mentality that there probably is a better cut. So this is our 40-pound chicken breast, boneless, skinless, jumbo, $91. This used to be $42 2 years ago. So this is what, it just causes me pain. But in terms of picking a different chicken, here's 40 pounds of quarter leg chicken, bone in, skin on, $28. That's still 40 pounds. This right here tells you it is 4 10-pound bags inside this case. Do you see the huge difference there? I know it's not boneless, skinless chicken breast. I know that it's not going to work for every single thing that a chicken breast would have worked for. It's still protein, it's still meat, and it is massively cheaper. This is less than, easily less than $1 a pound, probably more like 75 cents a pound when we start to do the math. Now that's just fast math in my head. You can get a calculator and tell me that it's, 79 cents if we want to be really particular. I don't know, just fast math. You can tell it isn't $40, so it's definitely less than $1 a pound. It's not even $30, so it's really less than 75 cents a pound for quarter leg chicken. That's one example. Wings, other items, just even cheaper as we focus on it. This guy right here, this is whole chicken. So this is getting the whole chicken. You're going to do your own rotisserie chickens, or you're going to do a roast chicken in the oven, $1.31 a pound. And this is getting a case of about 14 of them. That's a lot of whole chickens. We will still see, even in the grocery store, you'll still see some sales. Kroger is pretty good at running these about $1 a pound once a month or so. So you can beat that in a grocery store. It's still a great price for a whole chicken. Regular price in a grocery store is about $1.80 to $1, sometimes $2 a pound for that whole chicken. I know it's not what you wanted. I know that it's pushing you out of your norm on what you may normally cook, but a whole chicken is actually an incredibly easy meal to put together, and it just cooks in the oven for a little longer than a chicken breast, but all you have to do is season it and throw it in there and not really deal with it, and it comes out delicious. So, maybe it's time to stretch the way that we cook and to try different things using different types of meat. So that's just two examples. There's a lot really that will come out to be a lot cheaper when we're dealing with different cuts of meat. And honestly, you've got a lot of choices. So I took a video here. I'll show you guys, see if it'll play. I don't know if it'll play while we go. This is literally all of the cuts of beef that I could grab in the restaurant supply store. Guys, I don't even know what most of these are. There's actually, you can see the big picture in the back of a cow and what the cuts of meat are. Sometimes we go in and I just get whatever is cheap and we just wing it. We figure it out. There's a lot there. So just so you realize, even here, there's a huge difference. Some of these will be $13 a pound. Some will be $4. So obviously, I get that one is going to be juicier or, your bone-in, amazing ribeye, and one's not. But we can still get creative and we can figure out ways to use those different types of meat to get protein on the table. That's our goal here, to make a wholesome meal for the family, to still have meat, to not feel like we've gone to like goulash and mash. We're still serving a normal meal that we're used to without having to break our usual budget. So you can hit the prices you were hitting. It just means changing some things up. And I know that that might be hard for some folks, but I do encourage you if you can. So do I think Sam's, Costco, or BJ's have good prices on meat? Sue, that's a great question. Typically what we see in Sam's or all the warehouse stores is the sale price that we would see on meat in the grocery store. It is going to be a little bit higher than actually what I just showed you at the restaurant supply side. It's not a bad price. It's just not normally the absolute lowest that we could go. Some of them do offer a case discount. So if you're willing to grab that, you will save a little bit more. And there are some things that I have seen our Sam's beat the grocery store on a regular basis because it is the grocery store sale price. So for example, salmon in our Sam's Club, salmon is $7.99 a pound. I can get that price in the grocery store. So that doesn't actually like justify having a membership, but I can get that price every day instead of waiting for the sale in the grocery store. So if that is you, then maybe it's the perk of not having to follow the sales on meat. I am getting the sale price on meat without having to work to find that sale price. That's where the warehouse clubs can come in. In terms of warehouse clubs, there is a free membership to Sam's that they are still running. So that one, not hard to justify. You're going to pay $45 for the membership, and then you're going to get a $45 gift card back. If you head to Southern Savers and you just you search the site for Sam's free membership, or you click on warehouse clubs under national deals on Southern Savers, that will pop up as well. So free Sam's Club membership, that one's not hard to justify. I am going to get the sale price. I'm not going to beat the grocery store sale price. That's the hard part there. Like you want to get the best price because you bought this in bulk. They're not necessarily going to have that, but they are going to have a decent price. Now, BJ's and Costco, I'm not going to find a free membership to either one of those warehouse clubs. So I am going to have to justify the membership cost, and meat isn't going to do it. Because again, I can get all of those prices in the grocery store. So I'm not beating grocery store prices on meat in BJ's and Costco. I'm getting grocery store sale prices, but I'm not justifying the cost of the membership. So just keep that in mind. There are other deals that you can definitely grab in warehouse clubs, just not necessarily bulk meat as being a better deal. So Carolina Couponer kind of chimed in there too and said Sam's Club is high on their meat. To her, Sam's Club chicken in California has a fair price in comparison to supermarket prices. So Janice, exactly. So it's they're when we're leveling them out with sale prices, they're right on with sale prices. They're just not necessarily going to beat that sale price in the warehouse club. So hopefully that helps to explain it. Oh, Carrie says I should show a video of how we make our own cuts if we still do that. We do. I actually took pictures of my husband and posted it to, I guess, Instagram a while back when meat was on shortage. We have a meat grinder, and so we grabbed from this video, we grabbed kind of the cheapest, just big old hunks of meat that I could find. And they do have, if you have a U.S. food store, they do have an ends bag, and it's kind of this hodgepodge bag of what, as they cut and things get vacuum sealed, little pieces that are left over end up in that ends bag. And so you can find some great deals on that bag. In particular, come home and grind that into your own ground beef and do pretty well. This was when ground beef was completely sold out. And they do sell ground beef. Jumping all the way out there. So they do sell ground beef. And just to show you what that looks like, ground beef is in a 10-pound roll. It's fresh. You're just going to come home, slice that up. That's usually what I do. We're a big family, so I slice this up into 1.5 pound servings, and we vacuum seal that. Other folks, you probably want to go with a pound. 1.5 pounds is a little bit much for a family of 2 or 3. In terms of that particular price, this $2.94 a pound, just so you know what we're looking at, is actually not that picture. This is the same thing. The $2.94 is if you buy the whole case, which is down below. And I did take a picture just to show you, but that's what this is. And I realized that I had taken a picture of the roll. So these are 80-pound cases. If you're willing to get 80 pounds, you're going to be under $30 for that 81% lean ground beef. Obviously, the more fine we get, the more that costs. So if we go all the way down to a 73%, this is the case price. I didn't take a picture of the case, but that's the $2.57. The 10-pound roll is about like 50 cents more if I just get it by the 10-pound versus by the 80-pound. it's pretty rare for us to get the 80-pound on this. That's a lot of ground beef. I do tend to purchase it by the 10-pound roll. That's still a great price for ground beef to be at that $3 or this 81% at $3.39 a pound. You're not going to get it below $3.99 in the grocery store for ground beef. So just keep that in mind as you're shopping. If you're going for grass-fed, organic, your restaurant supplies probably aren't going to have that. That's not who they're catering to. So this is just beef. It doesn't have any special labels. It's not going to be labeled organic. You're going to need to get that from a grocery store, and hopefully you're going to find some great clearance deals on it. But just so you know what you're getting, because that's usually the number one question I get is, what about organic? Can I get that here? No, not always. So hopefully that'll answer your question on that one. And Carrie, the next time I do get big hunks, we'll try to see if we can, take a picture of him whacking it up. But it's very common for me to grab a whole, let's see, here's one in terms of pictures. So this is an entire beef strip loin. You're used to like strip steaks. That's what this is pretty much, just really big. And I will bring this home and have my husband. I always assign this job to him, slicing this into steaks for us. So if I went into the grocery store to be able to get, New York strip, basically boneless strip or beef strip for less than $7 a pound, it may be on sale, but I doubt it. It's probably a great sale would be $6.99. It's really going to be $7.99 or higher right now. So it is a good price to be your own butcher and to cut these up. You will also see, guys, I know I'm talking about restaurant supply here, but you'll actually see your grocery store put these larger hunks on sale as well. I've seen it at Lowe's Foods, Publix, and Kroger, where we will see these entire ribeye hunks or entire beef strip loins. They are a cheaper price than the individual steaks. And so in that moment, if you're in the grocery store on one of these and your grocery store has a butcher section, ask them to cut it. They may be like, I don't want to do that, but they will do it. It is their job. So I have done that. We've gotten a great price on ribeye in Lowe's Foods. I've done it in Publix. Just take that big piece straight from the refrigerated section that is on sale, walk to the butcher counter window and say, hey, would you be willing, can you slice this into steaks for me now? Would you be willing? Can you slice this into steaks for me? They'll even ask, how thick would you like? So half inch, you tell them, and they do all the slicing for you. Why not? There's no added cost to that. They go ahead and rewrap the meat, and you pay the exact same amount that you would have paid for the big hunk of meat already cut and ready to go. So that's a plus. If your grocery store is running a sale on those big pieces, you feel like it's a great price compared to what we normally see, grab it and get them to do the work for you versus you needing to be a butcher when you come home. It's not hard to be a butcher when you come home. It's just an added step. You've got all these groceries to put away. It's really not high on your list. So let them handle it. Let them handle the mess. And they do it for a living. They're going to be really good at it. I promise. The last time I had Lowe's Foods do that, I even was sitting there like, there's no way I could have cut these steaks as perfectly sized as that guy did. And he hand cut them. Mine would have been like, this one's a little thinner and this one's a little bigger. I think we're all probably a little bit like that. But he's a pro, so let him do it. And Kristen, I know I've never tried that. I'll actually have to go dig up some recipes, Kristen, because I have a number of whole chickens in the freezer. But she says whole chicken in the crock pot is pretty good too. So I'm all about some good crock pot recipes. And we do chicken in the crock pot regularly. I've just never tried my whole chicken there. I always roast it in the oven. Oh, and yes, Kimberly, thank you for mentioning that. Kimberly says we have 3 chicken plants within 30 minutes, but I've never heard that you could buy directly from them. You can. So Tyson plants, Purdue plants, if you have any of those in your area, they all, well, I don't want to say all, most of them have a consumer door. It's like this random door in the building that does have a consumer side and lets you purchase directly from the plant. It is a great price to do that. And they'll even run sales and markdowns, just like a grocery store would. So hitting the chicken plants, if they're in your area, you should. You already have to deal with a chicken plant in your area, so you at least should get some perks from it if you can. So Carolina Couponers mentioning Food Lion. I want to kind of go there for a second, Carolina Couponer, and talk about clearance deals in the grocery store. We do see some great meat clearances, and I encourage you to find out from your store when they put things on clearance and be there. So ask the butcher section, hey, when do you mark down your meat? Is it every day? Is there a particular day of the week that you tend to do this? And then be ready for it. So my kids take gymnastics about 35 minutes away. And in that area, I mentioned this, I think, a couple weeks ago, there's a Lowe's Foods that's kind of struggling. No one is shopping there. Well, I am now in there multiple times a week just to get clearance meat. And some great deals on it. These are 2.5 pounds. This one's 2.6 pounds of chicken for $6.57. So, we're almost to that $2 mark on that boneless, skinless chicken breast that we're aiming for, probably right at that $2.29 that I would get the 40 pounds for. With these, be careful. This is obviously a repackaged package of it, and you have to be a little choosy. You want to make sure you're going to bring home some good meat. I did immediately come home. I always immediately come home and put all of these vacuum sealed and in the freezer. You do not want to hang on to this very long. This is seriously how bad this particular grocery store is, though. This one right here, this is orange roughy fillets, has been marked down twice. Someone didn't buy it, and then it's still there. So what was $12.99 a pound is for 0.4 pounds. So it's not a whole pound, but you're going to pay $1.74 for it. So finding out when those clearance deals are hitting and going to town when they do is fun. Here's some grass-fed beef. 73% lean, but grass-fed ground beef burgers, $8.70. These are 2-pound packages. They're 32 ounces. There's 10 patties in each one of these for $8.70. Is that as low as I would normally want my ground beef? No. But if you want grass-fed beef, that's a great price for 2 pounds of grass-fed beef, paying $4.35 a pound, and already in burgers. So just to show you some examples, obviously, not everybody lives right near that particular store, but it gives you the idea of what can I find? What types of days do I want to? That is totally up to your store. So I need to ask my store, do you mark down meat? Publix is going to tell you no, so don't even waste your time there. Publix does not mark down their meat, but every other grocery store does. What day do you mark down meat? Is there a particular place that you put it? We used to have a Piggly Wiggly in our area, and all marked down meat got put in that particular section. So no point in even looking through the other cabinets. Just get in the habit of going straight to that corner for whatever was marked down. And so you'll kind of learn how your store is going to handle these so that you can be in the place you want to be to get the deals that you want to get. Again, remember that you need to put it in the freezer. It needs to be eaten or frozen, usually that day. I really do not want to stick this in the fridge thinking, oh, I'm going to eat it tomorrow, because if you don't, then it's in the fridge again, and then all of a sudden you're like, ooh, that doesn't even look like meat anymore. So don't do that to yourself. Always go ahead and put it up, or go ahead and cook it. If you come home with some clearance ground beef, go ahead and brown it. It's already thawed. I don't have to do the work to thaw it. Just stick it in the pan, brown it, and then freeze it and get it put up as frozen ground beef. You'll thank yourself later that you've done a little bit of that work. That's a whole different video. But it's still getting it up. It's still cooking it before it went bad, and it still counts. So do that. Clearance meat right now is how we're stocking our meat cabinet, thanks to that one particular Lowe's Foods that no one else is shopping at. I'm there. Actually, the lady today said, weren't you just in here a couple days ago? Yep, that was me. I now live here just for your clearance meat. I didn't tell her that because that might make her sad, but I am. I don't buy anything regular price right now in there, just clearance meat. Okay, let me get to a few of y'all's questions. So Susan, when does Lowe's Foods discount their meat? So typically Lowe's Foods does it on a particular day. It does differ by the store. This particular store, I don't think that anyone is shopping there really. And so every time I'm in there, it's different. I was in there last Wednesday. I grabbed a bunch of things. I was in there today. My kids do gymnastics on Monday and Wednesday. So those are the 2 days I'm in. And I have found different deals on those days. So they're not necessarily following a schedule in this particular store. Carrie, what is my stock up price on London broil? I have not purchased one here recently, Carrie, and honestly, prices are, continuing to go up. So it's a tricky one for me to give you a price on. I'm pondering whether I took a picture of one in the chef's store today. I don't think I did. I would aim for being under, $5 a pound, $6 a pound if your store is not putting it on sale. But you will see some discounts on it. Keep in mind, London broil sliced really thin stretches farther than giving every person their own steak. So you may end up paying a little bit more for it, but it is a great way to stretch your meat because it's a great meat that is sliced thin. I don't think I took any pictures of it, but just to throw that one out there. I'm still a fan of it, even if we're not finding a crazy good price on it. I think you can probably hit under $5 for some sales that we're seeing here lately. Definitely under $6 without an issue. That would be almost full price though. Okay. That's a great question or great comment. Carolina Couponer says when she grabs clearance meats, she makes sure to write down the date she bought it as well as the expiration date. And a lot of times those are going to be the same dates. If you're getting some great prices on meat, like these double markdowns, this is the day that needs to be purchased. But just so you are putting it up and you're kind of aware of kind of how close to date it was, even when you pull it out. That's important too. Do I have a stock up price on various meat cuts? Carrie, I used to, and I have not updated it. I need to update it. It's just hard because we're seeing those prices jump. But this is one thing that you can use the item search for on Southern Savers. So the item search on Southern Savers does make for its very own price book. It's holding on to all the sales in all the stores for the last 6 months. So if you do, want to go on a hunt for a particular cut of meat, you really can if it's been on sale. Sometimes I'm a little picky, so I don't include them even if they've been on sale. But let's see. Let's plug in London broil, for example, and let's put in a date, Carrie, of the last 4 months. Maybe we'll get something in terms of prices there. But this is going to at least give you when it was a decent price. So $4.99, that's Sprouts, $4.28 at Ingles. I know you don't have all of these particular stores, but you're getting an idea of what we have seen. This price not listed means that it was buy one, get one at Kroger. Kroger doesn't ever list their buy one, get one prices. Food Lion, $3.49. So we are seeing some decent prices, but you'll also notice how things have jumped just in the last few months. So Sprouts is up to $5.99. So make sure you do kind of, look past. Don't go too far back when we're looking at meat, but it is a great way to get an idea of what are regular prices on that item and what's the lowest that we're seeing, so that you can kind of peg that in your mind and say, okay, I want to aim for that price. Keep in mind with meat, since you mentioned that, since we're looking at the item search, it is a good reminder. In grocery sales, I would always tell you guys to follow a 6-week cycle. But actually in meat sales, we really only need to follow a 4-week cycle. We tend to see our main cuts of meat on sale every 4 weeks. Obviously, there are some exceptions there. I'm not going to see spiral cut ham on sale until Thanksgiving and Christmas, but pretty much everything else is going to follow that rotating 4-week cycle. Exceptions during the summer are grilling items. They go on sale even more often. There's always a hot dog on sale all summer. That's what it feels like. They stay on sale all year, but just not quite as often as we see in the summer. But use that item search like I just showed you. And what I did, just so you can get a feel for it, if you've not used this before, this is on the top of the site. You'll see item search. You'll also see it on the right-hand sidebar if you're brand new to Southern Savers. But what I did was just literally put in the cut of meat. I'll make it even bigger for you guys. I just searched London broil. I put in a date of 4 months ago. You probably could just do the last 2 months. And I told it to include every store because I was just trying to show you what the sales were. But you actually can sit here and just select the stores that you have. So if you're willing to shop at Kroger, I'm willing to shop at Publix, Lowe's Foods, I could literally search just the grocery stores in my area and I would see all the sales on that item just in my stores so that I could get an idea of what is the current or the most recent prices on those items. It's a great way to have your own price list or price book for those items because you're literally looking at up to 6 months worth of grocery store ads all at the same time. So folks ask me, what kind of price increases have we seen? Well, You could almost do your own research if you wanted to write some newspaper article on it. There's 6 months worth of data right there for you. Okay, and do I have any tips on seafood? So Cheryl, you will find those on clearance, as I just showed you some pictures there in Lowe's Foods. Another one on seafood is actually to look at the ones that are already frozen and vacuum sealed in fillets or in pieces. I will purchase those at our local chef store as well. And I did take a picture of that one. So just to show you one example, these aren't the best types. I know we've talked about different types of fish before, and people are like, oh, this is junk fish. They sell everything. I really just took this as an example picture. So these are 2-pound bags, 2 pounds, and they're selling them for basically $8 a bag. That's $4 a pound for these particular fillets. I can also get salmon already vacuum sealed and buy fillet for as low as $6.50 a pound. That is cheaper than I can get in the grocery store. So still going bulk here if I can in those already vacuum sealed frozen fillets. Now I know a lot of folks prefer fresh. Let me just give you a heads up on how grocery store fresh works. So if you go to the fish section in Publix or Kroger, and I know you think you're in an upscale fancy store, most of them are going to say, even in the ad, they're going to say salmon fillets on sale, $7.99 a pound, previously frozen. Literally, that's what they're doing. They have shrimp on sale. It's the same shrimp that is in the freezer in 2-pound bags, and they are sometimes opening those bags and thawing them and putting them in the open counter meat section. So it's not 100% of the time, but it's a lot of the time, guys. So there's really nothing wrong with buying the already vacuum sealed in individual serving sizes or the entire fillets. You will get some great prices on those. So don't discount them thinking like, that's not fresh fish and this is, because it's not necessarily as fresh as you think it is. And now when you take it home, especially if you refreeze it, it's now been frozen twice. It's not exactly what you wanted. So just make sure you know what you're grabbing. If you really don't care, obviously the frozen one is cheaper than we kept this fresh and we never froze it. That's going to be painfully expensive. And that is not what is going to be on sale. Sorry, I live in South Carolina. I do not live near Alaska. I am not going to find this piece of salmon was never frozen. If I did, it isn't going to be pretty. I am not going to be able to afford it. So sticking with bags, individual already frozen fillets. Sam's also sells these. So if you want to use your Sam's membership, I don't think you can get them quite this cheap. But the last thing we grabbed at Sam's was salmon that was already frozen in those individual packages. You may be able to get tilapia that cheap because tilapia is a pretty cheap fish. But just to give you some ideas, so look for clearance, look for bulk, look for frozen, already vacuum sealed individual servings in those bags. Every store sells them, and a lot of stores do put them buy one, get one regularly. So you can get some great prices on those. Anyone that's near a Harris Teeter, those bags and shrimp in particular, those two things, Harris Teeter loves to put buy 2 and get 3 free on those particular items. So those will be huge stock up moments for you. Obviously, you got to buy 5, but you're going to get crazy good prices on them when they're running those. So I would be watching for those if I had a Harris Teeter in my area. I don't. So I will just live vicariously through those of you who do. But you can get some great prices on them in bulk and other places. And again, I'm showing you pictures from our chef store because I ran there today in between our lunch break while we were at our homeschool co-op. But some other restaurant supply stores, if you're hunting for one in your area, first off, just Googling the name of your city, restaurant supply stores or restaurant supply stores near me will find things. But you've got the U.S. Foods Chef Store. You have Gordon Food Service. There's a number of others that are out there that are individual, but U.S. Foods and Gordon Food Service are 2 of the largest ones that are there. You do not have to own a restaurant to shop there. Anyone can. And a good number of these deals I could get in bulk in the warehouse clubs as well, just maybe not quite as cheap as I could get from the stores. So Carla says Aldi salmon is never frozen. I'm gonna let you go with that one, Carla. We're just gonna leave it there. It's Aldi, and if you want to search for salmon, there's no way Aldi can bring that to you at the price that Aldi is bringing it to you. So they can tell you what they want to tell you. I cannot in any way imagine that salmon is never frozen unless we're dealing with a salmon farm that is on this side of the country. There's just not a physical way to bring us. So it is probably farmed, which is okay. That's the only way it's going to happen. It's going to have to be within a certain hour radius for Aldi to be able to bring that in. And salmon doesn't live on our side of the country, guys. Salmon lives on the West Coast. So we are dealing with salmon farms, if that's, which is fine. But I would be hesitant to go with that one. Even Publix is going to give you previously frozen salmon on sale. But maybe so, guys. So I'm going to go with you on that one. Maybe Aldi does. I would just, it's probably farmed. It is probably farmed on the East Coast. There's just no other way that they're going to be able to pull that off. Okay. So in terms of comparing that, there are folks that do care about that, wild versus farmed. If you care, that is listed in the grocery flyers. I would say that is not going to be what you're going to find in Aldi. You will see it in Publix, so it will say wild caught or wild previously frozen. That's okay. They're telling you exactly what you're getting, so just go with it if that's what they're talking about. Oh, great question, Christy. What about raw chicken wings versus buying the big bags that are previously frozen? So those individually quick frozen, IQF, that's like the buzzword for chicken on that one. Usually the individually quick frozen, they're sold in like the 4-pound bags. And we can get a decent price, but actually the raw ones will usually get a lower price per pound on. So what you want to do, Christy, is have that in the back of your mind. What is the price per pound for raw chicken wings? And then plug that into that 4-pound bag, because that's what that 48-ounce bag is when you head into the grocery or into any of these frozen stores. Buying in bulk, or even our grocery stores sell that 48-ounce bag. But just so you kind of, know what you're aiming for when you're in there. You've got that price per pound. I was looking back to see if I took a picture at the chef store today. I didn't take a picture of chicken wings in particular, but I want to say it was still less than $1 a pound. Still kind of like those quarter legs were really less than 75 cents a pound. So I would probably be aiming for about that, around $1, maybe $1.25 in the grocery store per pound on chicken wings, and then comparing that to that 4-pound bag. I don't know that you're going to hit it, but you probably actually will do better. Okay. Okay, and y'all made my husband Google it, and he says Aldi does advertise. They sell never frozen fresh fish. So they do. That's great to know. I would still be a little, it's definitely not wild. I can tell you that much. Not going to happen. There's just no way to get salmon across the country affordably and not freeze it. It's also completely okay to just buy frozen fish because you're already going to put it in your freezer, guys. Oh, and they say Atlantic on their salmon, so there you go too, versus Pacific, which is where most of our wild salmon is going to come from. Okay. Janice is saying that she finds Costco meat better quality than grocery stores. It's funny that you say that, Janice, because odds are they're actually the exact same farms. So if you, just to show you this picture here, if I walked into Winn-Dixie by Lowe's Foods, this is literally the brand of chicken that they sell in smaller quantities, but it's still the exact same farm. So when we're dealing with a regional area, they're all going to be pulling from that same regional area. It's the same concept of how do I ship raw, fresh meat safely without freezing it means I don't take it very far. It's the only way to do that. I got to put it in a refrigerated truck. I have to keep it at a particular temperature, and that gets really iffy on the road long term, so they don't tend to take it far. So in a given regional area, if you've got a bunch of Tyson plants in your area, odds are all of your local stores, they're serving Tyson chicken. So it's what they can get their hands on in that regional area. And when I say regional, usually that 3 to 4 hour window is about as far as most of them want to go for their fresh meats. And you could say you're shopping local in that sense, but you are going to get the same meats across all those stores. It could be that there are different grades, and so maybe you feel like Costco's buying a different grade of chicken or beef than the other stores are. So grade meaning if you've ever bought in bulk before, you'll start to realize this. So some of them, if I get a cheaper box of chicken, I'm all for it. I don't really care. You'll notice when you grab those boneless, skinless chicken breasts that sometimes they look a little more cut up. So it's not meaning like there was anything wrong with them, but they didn't like pass this one's pristine and gorgeous test as they went through the machine. There are other things they're looking at too on how to grade their chicken. But it is a possibility that your grocery stores versus Costco are grabbing a different grade of meat, but probably actually from the same general supplier and processor, which can be surprising for some of us to wake up and realize. So let's see. And my local meat market uses those pieces for ground beef, which tastes better as well. Carolina Couponer is saying, so the kind of those cut end pieces, I'm guessing is where you were going there, and they are to take those beef pieces and grind them up. You're getting some higher end meat in your ground beef than you would normally get, which is great. So to skip ahead a little bit, so Urs is saying that you hit your Lidl for 19 pounds of meat for $13.50, 6.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs, 4 pounds of chicken legs. That's awesome. So being that perimeter shopper, getting the deals on what you want to get, that's fine. It's a great way to save on meat if you feel like you're getting it a great price, and definitely hitting just the marked down produce items. And finding out when the magical times to be there are. Darlene asking about Columbia Meats. I've never heard of Columbia Meats. I'll check it out. I have not been there before. We always head to the chef's store. But if you found that it's helpful, I'd love to know what you grab there or what you find is interesting in terms of deals. And thank you, Juanita. I'm glad that the website is helpful for you. And thank you for sharing it. I can't really ask for anything else. There we go. Okay, sorry, just trying to catch up, guys. Lexi's saying your Aldi doesn't have a fresh fish department in a big city. However, I can get fresh fish and shrimp from the Gulf Coast. So you're in a great place. Most of us that are kind of inland, it's going to get a little harder for us to get some fresh meat that has never been frozen. But if you're right on the Gulf Coast, you should enjoy all of that fresh fish for sure. Okay. So we've hit meat at length, guys, and we're totally running out of time. So I do want to hit produce a little bit before we run out of time. Again, just to recap, buying in bulk, buying on clearance when you can. Warehouses are okay. I'm going to hit my grocery store sale prices at a warehouse club, but not necessarily beating that price. And then the biggest one being maybe for right now, I'm praying that these prices come back down. I don't know that they will anytime soon, but for the time being that we're going to get a little creative and we're going to find other ways to cook different cuts of meat. So as I mentioned at the very beginning, right now, boneless, skinless chicken breasts, $2 a pound might be the best price you're going to find, $1.88 at Kroger, someone mentioned. But at the same time, I can get quarter leg chicken, I can get chicken wings so much cheaper, whole chickens. So being creative, stretching yourself, let's all put on a little Julia Childs and learn how to cook a whole chicken if that's what we need to. But you'll be proud of yourself for figuring out something new too, if that's what you need to do. And yes, Barbara, you're right. So heading in and having them cut up something for you, no charge whatsoever. So always let the butcher department do the work for you if they have one. Hands down, that is the easy way to go. So let's switch and let's talk produce for a minute. Now, you guys know if you've been on any Q&As or you've sat through a workshop that I've done online recently that we buy all of our produce from a produce co-op. I 100% recommend being part of a produce co-op. Now, you may not be in my area to be part of my produce co-op. Well, I call it mine. It's not mine. It's run by a bunch of people. We are just part of it. But you could totally set something like this up in your area. So with our co-op, we have about 40 people on average that are there. We meet twice a month and we all bring our laundry baskets. These are my sad laundry baskets. Anybody else have a laundry basket that hasn't had handles for like the last 10 years? I'm pretty sure that is my laundry basket from college. So I should just be glad it's still around. We bring our laundry baskets. It's $25 per basket, so you can get multiples if you want. This, guys, is literally 50 plus pounds of produce. I could not ever walk out of a grocery store with that much produce filling a big laundry basket for 25 bucks. It's not going to happen. I have no doubt about that. I don't care how great the prices are at Aldi. You're not going to be able to do that. So I encourage you to look into a co-op in your area or making a co-op in your area. Super, super easy. You're literally pooling the money together. So we all have to pay by Wednesday night for co-op on Saturday, pooling that money. Then we have folks that head to the farmer's market and they buy what they can get with all of our money. Now, obviously, the more people that are a part of it, the more money you have to pool and the more options you can get. So we usually end up with about 25 different produce items in that basket. That's doable with 40 people that are part of the co-op. But even if you just had 5, maybe 10 people in your co-op, you could still have a pretty good variety with 250 bucks that you went into the farmer's market with. You're buying in bulk here, and then you're splitting it up. So let me see if I took any pictures. I don't think I did on this particular day of what the bulk looks like. But you can kind of see here, these are bushel baskets of beans. So it's this whole crate right here. And then they're sitting there and they're splitting them all up into bags so that we all have some in each of our baskets. This was obviously from this past winter because we're all wearing coats, but I knew I still had the pictures. We line up our baskets like so, and we just go down splitting up. Here's a whole case of tomatoes that someone's holding, splitting up that case of tomatoes so that everyone's getting 3 or 4 all the way down. That is literally how simple it is. You can do this yourself. So in terms of finding a co-op, which is everyone's first question, Google the name of your city and produce co-op. It can be that simple. You can head to localharvest.org. So localharvest.org, you put in your zip code or your city, and it will show you every farm that will let you direct buy from them and every farmer's market. So start there to see what is available to you. You might also find some co-ops. Keep in mind, some co-ops that are out there are actually businesses. So when we pay that $25, some of that's going to an overhead, where ours is literally just a group of people that have come together to form a co-op. That's going to have no overhead. That would really be your goal. But it's okay if someone else wants to do some of the work and you're willing to pay them, a few dollars towards their work and the rest of it's going to your produce. You're getting a great price for that. So localharvest.org to find something near you. Now, one other resource for you guys, I always have this as a shortened link because it's really a long USDA website. This is a local market report. So there are, I think, 16 federal markets, federal farmers markets in the United States. They are monitored by the USDA every single day for what is there and what the prices are. So this is the actual market report from Columbia, South Carolina, which is where I live. I happen to have a federal market in my backyard. Other ones in the Southeast, there's one in Miami, there's one in Atlanta, there's one, I think, in Maryland and Missouri. Now, if you're curious, I love this report, not just because it's in my backyard, but it's totally readable. I actually found the Atlanta market report for you guys tonight. Here's the Atlanta report. Yeah, that's a big difference. Actually, I started to compare some of the prices, and the prices were the same. So seriously, save yourself a headache and just use this one. Look at how easy that is. We have the vegetable, we have what size it was in, the varieties, and the price. Come on, Atlanta, get with us. If you want to find one in your area, literally all I did, and I'll even show you the Google search, was you want to search for the words AMS because it stands for Agricultural Marketing Service for the USDA. So AMS Report Atlanta is what I did. You could do the same thing for AMS Report Miami, AMS Report Missouri, and see what you can find. You also can head to the direct AMS site on the USDA, and you'll see each one of them. These are not always as helpful either because they're going to take, you're going to get an entire report just for onions and potatoes, just for fruits and vegetables. But this does show you all of the farms. So again, in the Southeast, let's see, we've got St. Louis, Missouri, Miami, Florida, Los Angeles, California. So I know we have one or two California folks with us tonight, but you can see kind of the cities that are around. So this is the AMS market report. If you just Google that, you will end up on this USDA page and be able to find your local ones. Again, they're not all gorgeous. So here's Chicago, but you get an idea. So let me go back to one we can read easily. You'll be able to read them once you figure out what's there if you do want to use the one in your area. But it's literally telling you how much things cost. So this is 50 pounds of onions for 15 bucks. Yeah, that's like 30 cents a pound for onions. I can't get that in the grocery store. I also don't need 50 pounds of onions. So this is where a co-op comes in. Let's say we pooled across 5 friends, $100 or 125 bucks. Well, you could easily get onions and you could get 5 or 6 other things and still have money left over possibly. So 50 pounds of onions, 15 bucks. This is 1 1/9 bushel cartons of bell peppers for 18 bucks. That's the green extra large. If you want red, it's 20. Guys, this bell peppers, I mention this every time I pull up this report because this is the one that blew my mind when I started to really figure out what these sizes were. There are over 90 peppers in that box. 90. And they sell it for 18 bucks. Now, think about how much the grocery store sells it for. And even my Aldi folks, think about how much Aldi sells a bell pepper for. 90 bell peppers for 18 bucks is less than less than 20 cents a pepper for sure. I think you can do better than any grocery store buying fresh from a farmer's market. Now, you may not have one of these markets in your backyard, but you do possibly have a farmer's market in your backyard, or you have a farmer that you could direct purchase from. So that's your next step. Not saying you need to come to Columbia or drive to Atlanta on a regular basis. Find that local farmer's market, or what you're really going to end up probably finding is a local reseller. And it's somebody who did drive to the federal market or to a larger market, bought in bulk, and is now reselling to you. So you're probably not buying from the farmer. You'd like to, but you're probably not. So at this point, pull up one of these reports because this is your homework. You know how much it's worth. This is the federal market report so that I know what the going price was this morning at the bigger city near you. And then you know about what to ask them. Now remember, they went and they bought it in bulk and they're now selling it to you. So you're going to pay a little bit more. But if they're asking double that price, then you know to say like, whoa, wait a second. I'll give you, $5 more, or you decide on that price. But it is a haggling situation, so be okay with that. It is okay to haggle. People don't love you for it, and they will sometimes give you looks, but they'll usually come down on their price. They may not be too thrilled about it, but they will come down on their price. I'm not incredibly proud of this, but I actually haggled in a thrift store last week, and it was not something I've ever tried before, and the lady was not loving me for it, but I seriously needed random forks and spoons for an art project, and they wanted $1 a piece for 1 fork and 1 spoon. I didn't want to pay $1 a piece for a fork and a spoon that we're going to turn into a faircraft. And she came down on the price. She didn't love me for it, but she did come down on the price. So thank you to that sweet thrift store. You need to get a little thicker skin and be okay with that. And in a farmer's market situation, you need to be okay with that. You are going to get much better prices in a local market and a bigger market if you are willing to discuss the price, not just accept the price, because that is not how this works. And you can haggle back with them. We don't like to do it. It gets us out of our little comfort zone. Most of us love the fact that we can walk into a grocery store and this is how much it costs and I don't have to argue with anyone. But we don't need to get into arguing mode. We just need to get into, hey, wait a second. What can we do on that price? Can we get a little lower on that price? Because you can. There is flexibility in that market. So, just get a little thicker, grow a little backbone if that's what we need. I know I need to work on that too, because I totally felt bad for asking her to bring down $1 on her fork later, but it's worth a shot to try. And Carrie's asking, how much did I talk them down to? You know what, Carrie? I honestly don't know how much I talked her down to, but I will tell you this. It was a little thrift store up in Chapin, so a little tiny town. I walked out the door with 2 pairs of kids' shoes, a shirt, a pair of shorts, 2 forks, and a spoon. So it was a lot of things, and I paid $5.89. And the shoes were actually great shoes, so I feel like I got a deal. I have no clue what she decreased the fork and the spoon to, but I definitely shouldn't have all been $5.89. So maybe she was just really nice to me. Throwing it all together, my husband says it's like a group deal, like the Pickers used to do on the TV show, kind of like, how about this? I didn't actually talk them down on anything else. I just kind of put it all on the counter, but I was very content with my final price. And yes, guys, in case you're curious, most of my kids' shoes, definitely my little kids' shoes, they come from thrift stores. They're only going to wear those shoes for like a month before they don't fit them anymore. So I don't ever buy new shoes for my kids. That's just who I am. I've accepted it, and they are totally cool with, look at these shoes I got. So to me, I'm raising them right. Someday a future husband for them will totally thank me. I've not raised them to have a shoe closet of $300 shoes. So that is what we did. And little side story, I guess, for everyone. So in all of this, we've hit a lot tonight. I know that you do not have this amazing co-op in your backyard that I'm showing you pictures for. Some of you may. And I actually had someone that lives semi-near me. I think they were maybe 45 minutes away and said, you know what, that's too far to go. Honestly, guys, I drive 40 minutes to this co-op. I don't live on this side of town. This is a bit of a haul for me. It is totally worth it. It takes about an hour. We divvy up all the produce and we go home. So you don't have to, it's not taking up the whole Saturday, but it is worth a drive. And so I say that for you, not because you live 40 minutes away, but I do encourage you to expand your search. So if you're looking for a produce co-op to be a part of, consider that. It does not need to be in your backyard. Is it within even an hour? It could really be worth it, depending on the size of the co-op, the amount that they're getting. And I guess one other thing to emphasize there is obviously we get better deals in the summer, but I do want to, you've seen the pictures already. We're wearing coats in these pictures. These are probably from January, February. That's a ton of produce. January, February, off season. So really, when you start to think of those winter months and you want to save on fresh produce, going in bulk really is your way to go, and then splitting that up. Because off season in the grocery store, you're really limited. If I'm only going to shop the grocery store for produce, I'm not going to be part of a co-op or shop from a farmer's market, then I have to stick with what's in season. That's really my only way to save on produce in the grocery store. Sticking with what's on season, come winter, I can get lettuce, I can get citrus, but I'm going to start to get really, really hard pressed to get beyond some items, some greenhouse tomatoes, maybe some cucumbers, but I'm not going to see a ton of other really great prices in the winter the way that I would in the summer. So that maybe is your encouragement this winter to go investigating. Now, that said, we are at the end of summer. You may not feel like it. It's kind of already starting to feel like fall out there, but you can still get some great prices. So if you do have a farmer's market near you, even if it's not a big one, I do encourage you in the next couple of weeks to head out to that farmer's market and see what you could buy in bulk just for your family. What could I get in the freezer, vacuum sealed, ready to go to last us through the winter at a summer price? So we're kind of on the cusp of the end of summer. And what could you get in your ground? So I would encourage you to look at a fall garden. You can get your green leafies in the fall garden. Some of us are, our Florida folks, y'all can grow whatever you want. But the rest of us outside of Florida, we do need to be a little picky. We've got a fall garden going right now. I actually had hoped that I had energy left in the day to get out there and pick, but we've got green beans that are ripe and ready to pick, and we've got squash that's coming in. So there's still some things that you can get going. If you know that your area is going to frost, don't go big. go with a smaller little container garden, go with a garden that I could easily cover up with a sheet of plastic so that I could make it through those frosted nights and extend my garden a little further. Obviously, if you go with a big, huge fall garden, you gotta have a way to deal with that. My husband and I were pondering that because ours is a little big, but we live in the country. So, big is like how you're supposed to do it in the country, right? But if you're gonna go fall at this point, we're already into the beginning of October, container garden is huge because you could bring it in on those cold nights and you could really have fresh tomatoes and all sorts of things well into the winter in a container garden that you literally put outside during the day and you brought inside at night. You feel like, I don't know, might feel a little funny doing it, but you would love having some fresh fruits and veggies mostly, that you didn't have to pay for. You grew them and they're going to taste great because you grew them. So don't forget about that. You can always do that. Let's see. So I'm trying to make sure I'm not mentioning it. Christy's saying her peppers live until November. Lettuce will also last until November. Lettuce around in our house, we had collards that overwintered. They were still going. So depending on where you are, you will get some vegetables throughout the winter and they will do just fine. And Christy's saying collards taste better after frost anyway. Maybe that was it for us. We didn't even know that, but we did. Our collards, by the time we finally cut them down, they were probably as tall as I was. They just kept on going. So there's some great things that you can get in a winter garden, even if you don't love collards. Maybe you just try them. But you can definitely get some savings. So, okay, I am going to go ahead and cut us there. We got a lot of great tips in, and I love all of y'all's comments too tonight. So we'll be back next Monday night for a Q&A as well. Every Monday night, usually, guys, 8:30 Eastern time. So I'd love to have you join me each week. I'll be on tomorrow at 2 to go through all of the drugstore deals this week. We've got some money makers and some fun deals to grab in CVS and Walgreens. So if you can't join me live, that will always be there for you to watch on Facebook or on YouTube after the fact. Just know that it went live at 2 so that you're ready for it. And then I do plan on doing a video on Wednesday of our deals from Publix this week. So you can catch that one after I get home. It will be later in the day, but we will do a Publix video this week. So thanks for watching, guys. If you've got any questions that have come up from this one or from previous videos, or we didn't hit on it and I missed your question, feel free to send me a message through Facebook messages or send me an email, jenny@southernsavers.com, and I will be glad to answer it. So thanks for hanging with me tonight, and hopefully I will talk to you again